Hey guys, so what are we doing today? I'm in a bit of a sticky situation here. I'm at Sears right now. Yes, Sears. Finished my shopping. Was in Sears for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Finished my shopping. Ready to go home. Walked into my car and try to turn it on, and guess what? Nothing at all. But all the lights work. I mean, everything on the lights on the dash work. The radio works, the blow motor works, everything works. But I'm trying to turn this car on, and it's not cranking over. And I've tried it 15 times. Back and forth. I tried it 15 times and it won't crank over. So basically what I did was I went out and I checked my headlights. I was thinking the battery. I don't know why I'm thinking the battery, but I've only been out of the car for like an hour and a half. Well, I'd say about an hour. And I didn't leave the lights on because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't leave the lights on at all. I didn't leave anything on. I'm pretty sure it's not the battery. In fact, I know it's not the battery at this point. But let me just give you some backstory on this. I had this situation a couple of times during the last 6 months where I couldn't get the car to start, but I played around the terminals to the battery. I kind of wiggled it a little bit, got to start. I actually did that about 15 minutes ago. Didn't do anything. So that's not the cause of it. About a month ago, I did have this situation where I was right in the morning. I was ready to go to work. I got into my car and it wouldn't crank. So I did it about 3 to 5 times, pressing the gas. 3 to 5 times I did it, and eventually it did crank up and it did start. This time around, I did it 15 times and nothing. All right, nothing happened. So I was able to get somebody to help me out with a jump. This car right next to me, nice guy, parked right next to me and put some cables on it. Nothing. Same thing. All the lights work. Everything else works in the car. Like all the internal electronics work in the car, but nothing else. It won't crank, and it's not the battery. Obviously, it's not the battery because I did try to jump it. And got the battery about a year ago. I don't think the battery has any issues. Because if once you put cables to it, it should work. But that didn't work. So it's not the alternator. I mean, I'm just troubleshooting at this point. It's not the alternator because the car would have to be running. It would have to be running, and then die out and then not start for that to be the alternator. And then you put cables on it, and then after you put cables on it, take it off. The car would die afterwards. So I've been through these kind of situations before. So I've had an alternator die on me while I was driving, and couldn't get the car to start. It wouldn't crank, but once you put cables to it from another car, or from an auxiliary battery or whatever, it will crank up and start. But once you take that power off, cables off, the car will die. I mean, most of the time, alternate issues happen when you're driving on the road, but that wasn't the situation. All right, this car was completely off when I got in here. So basically, what I'm left with is either some kind of electronic issue or maybe the starter that's causing it not to work. So, but I mean, it could be a fuse. Could be a fuse. It could be the relay, but I don't think it's the relay. Reason why I don't think it's the relay is the reason why I don't think is the relay is because I do hear a click. I mean, I hear a couple clicks actually. I've heard the car click. Couple clicks. I've heard the car click. Every time I try to start it, the car will click. It'll click. It'll click. It's like a click. So it'll click. So that means that there is power going to. There's power going to the solenoid. There's power going to the motor, but the motor is just not running. It's just not turning. The motor's not running. The motor's not turning. It does click, so there's power going there. Okay, it's not the relay, because if it was a relay, I wouldn't hear anything. It'd be just absolutely dead when I try to turn it on. So that's not the cause of it, and I don't think it's the fuse. I've had situations where fuses were blown, and it had issues. I had issues starting the car because of it. But it's not that either, and I know it's not because, well, fuses and cars not starting. There's most of the time there's normally two ways you can figure that out. One way is if the car cranks but won't start. I mean, well, if the car cranks but won't turn over, it might be the fuse. It might be the fuse, not 100% the fuse, but it could be a couple other things. But one of the fuse would be one of those issues. Or if there is no electricity at all going to the car, like you won't have any kind of lights at all. It'll be like if it was disconnected from the battery, nothing at all. So if that's the case, then it could be a fuse, a blown fuse, a main fuse or whatever, but that's not the case here, because I am getting a lot, electricity. I am getting everything works except it won't crank over. That's the problem. So my only option after this is to bump the starter, which I will do. I will bump the starter, see if I can get it to work one last time, and if it does turn over after I hit it with a crowbar, which I do have a long crowbar. I'm going to try to hit it with a long crowbar and see if it does work. That's pretty much my last option at this point, after troubleshooting all of this. Now I will say that my starter on this car, I changed it out maybe like a year and a half ago. So I changed the starter out a year and a half ago, I am right now really disappointed that I didn't get an OEM starter. I bought a rebuild starter for warranty on it. I don't know how long that warranty is, maybe like 1 year, lifetime. I don't know. I think it's a 1 year warranty or whatever it is. But if you guys know anything about rebuild starters, they're not 100% the most reliable things you could buy as far as the starters are concerned. Reason being is that when they rebuild these starters, they only rebuild the part that's broken. Every other part works. Every other part works. I mean, no, not every other part. What am I talking about? Every other thing on the starter has the same mileage as when it was taken out of the car. So let's just say if the car had 150,000 miles on it, they'll replace the part in the starter that broke, but they won't replace everything, the whole entire thing. Because then I think at that point it would be like brand new if they replaced everything. They won't even replace all the major parts. Unfortunately, what they'll replace is one single part of the starter that's broken, and everything else they'll clean up. I don't know. It's an amazing process. I haven't looked into it, but the fact that they could get a starter you hand into them, like looking like a piece of rusted junk, and then cleaning it up to the point where it looks like it's brand new. But regardless, they don't change out all the parts in there. So, and that's the case probably here. But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna try to bump it. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, guys. So I was able to get it to crank up one time, yesterday. I was able to get the car to crank up after I bumped it a couple of times and try to start a couple of times. On the fifth try, it did crank up, and I was able to get it home. But once I turned off the car and tried to turn it on again, it wouldn't start. I would have the same symptoms after that. Though it was the starter, definitely the starter that was causing the issues. It's definitely the starter that was causing the issues on it, and so I did change the starter, and I did buy a used starter on eBay. I ordered it. I actually bought it. I went to a junkyard that very same day, got it, and I'm pretty sure that starter had, like, you know, it's a used starter. It's an OEM starter. I wasn't gonna get like a rebuilt starter again, knowing what I know about rebuilt starters. So I put that in. Hopefully there was like $40 or whatever, and hopefully it'll last me a lot longer than this rebuilt starter has. So I mean, that's I've had experiences with rebuilt alternator starters. They go out. After I put them, installed them, they go out. I've had an alternator that I went out like about a year and a half after I put it in. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to last maybe like 150,000 miles, 125, 150 before it goes out. So it wasn't the worst situation, but I really wish that situation didn't happen, because I lost so much time. Hours and hours. Well, I did lose 30 minutes yesterday, about 30, 40. I lost an hour yesterday, and then today I lost maybe like 2 hours putting it in. But hey, but it is what it is. Stuff happens. Back on the road again. But so if you guys have any questions, you know, comments or whatever, feel free to leave your comment in the comment section. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. All that good stuff. All right, guys, take care.